Hi, this is Gary Cato with Project SOS, and I'm very proud to sponsor this episode of Salute. We hope you enjoy it.
Hello and welcome to Central Florida Salute. I have, for a change, two lovely ladies instead of a grumpy old man. But I have Sue Roper and Betsy. I didn't get you.
Nolan, yes.
Oh, Betsy Nolan. Two lady veterans from the Tri-County, Women Tri-County Veterans Association down in the villages, And Sue, I've talked to you a few times, but I don't know much about you. So would you like to tell us a little about yourself, where you're from originally? And I'm dying to find out why you guys went in the Navy.
Well, I was born in Miami Beach, Florida, and then I was raised in a very rural West Hollywood area. It was so rural that across the dirt road was a dairy farm. So basically, I got an interest in the military early in elementary school. My boyfriend at the time and I decided and committed ourselves that we were going to grow up and join the Marine Corps. Well, the years passed. I never knew what happened to the boyfriend.
He didn't go in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Oh, well.
But at 18, I thought, okay, well, maybe I don't want to go in the Marine Corps. Instead, I went to nursing school. Mm-hmm. I met an upperclassman by the name of Debbie who was in a program called OCHN. It was Officer Candidate Hospitalman. So basically what they did at that time, they paid for her senior year and they gave her E3 pay for the whole year. Now my obligation was to serve two years active duty. If I didn't graduate nursing school, I was going to be a hospital corpsman. So I made sure to graduate nursing school and then got commissioned, and they sent me to Newport, Rhode Island for officer indoctrination school. Taught me how to walk, how to talk, how to dress, how to salute, who to salute, how to polish my shoes, military traditions and customs. And the one thing that we did not have to deal with so much with boot camp was the physical that they required in boot camp, the physical activities. But they did require us to jump off a 12-foot tower into the water twice. And I had a severe...
Did you have a life jacket?
Once with a life jacket, once without.
Oh.
That's why they had two. So I was really aquaphobic, and I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. But I think I had out-of-body experiences. I managed to get down there. I managed not to drown, and I felt great. I thought, finally, I can really do things if I just do it. So
yeah.
That's kind of my beginning of and why I came into the Navy, because they were very generous. I also developed in officer indoctrination school a sense of belonging to something greater than myself. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So.
How many years did you do?
I did 21 years.
Okay, well, we're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about where you were and what you did. I mean, you were a nurse, but where you were stationed. But we have another lady over here, and I want to know why she went in. Betsy,
Okay.
where are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
A Steeler town.
A Steeler town, Steeler fan through and through.
We won't hold that against you.
I actually did the traditional, grade school, high school, college. I'm a Duquesne University graduate. In the School of Pharmacy, I'm a pharmacist. And I had worked in a local hospital with a bunch of pharmacists that had done nothing but work in that hospital for at least 10 or 15 years. And at that time, I was floundering a little bit, and I decided I didn't want to. I looked at the ones that were 10 years older than I were, and I said, you know what, I don't want to be you in 10 years. You don't like, you're miserable, life is not fun for you anymore. And I could just see myself, if I stayed in that job too long, maybe growing into that type of a person. So I actually went to the recruiter. My brother was in ROTC, Navy. He was in medical school at Marquette, and he said, you know what, you probably would like the service. It's a lot of fun. So I went down and I applied Air Force and Navy. And the Air Force did not have any openings, but the Navy did. So then I had to make a decision, like, uh-oh, now what do I do? And so Jim, my brother, and I, we drove to Philadelphia, about a 6-hour drive, and we stayed for the weekend with a local pharmacist. They put us up in the BOQ. And I learned a little bit about what the job was like, what the expectations would be. And I thought, you know what, I can do this. At least I can say in 3 years I lived in someplace different, I met new people, and I grew as a person and as a leader. And sure enough, I signed on the bottom line, and behold, got in my Mustang with all my belongings, if you can believe it, and drove to Philadelphia, and that's how I started my career in the
The
Navy.
next thing you knew, you were jumping off a 12-foot platform.
Actually, they sent me to what they called knife and fork school. Because I'm, being a pharmacist, you're in what they call the Medical Service Corps, which is part of the medical department of the United States Navy. And there's 4 departments, or 4 corps. There's nursing, medical corps, doctors, and dental corps. And medical service corps is anything other than those 3. And knife and fork school got its name because a lot of the folks that I went to school with were former E6s and E7s that had gone to school and gotten their degree or their master's degree and now were commissioned officers. And so the joke was you had to teach them how to eat with utensils. That's why they called it knife and fork school. It's probably not funny anymore, but I don't know. All I know is I was
That's something for me to remember when I talk to Navy people now.
I was one of probably very few people that went to class because a lot of the chiefs knew that what would happen to them if they didn't show up. So I learned. That was my indoctrination. But after my class and the class behind me, they sent us to officer indoctrination school.
What rank were you guys when you went up?
I was a captain.
You were a captain?
When we retired,
Yeah, when you retired.
commander.
Oh, wow. I was at E4.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So where did you go?
Well, it was very ironic. After officer indoctrination school, I wanted to go to Portsmouth, Virginia. So they said, okay, we'll send you to Quantico, Virginia, which is the Marine Corps base, which I always thought was ironic because as an elementary school kid, I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. But now I'm a Navy nurse at the Marine Corps station, which was pretty exciting. It was their officer candidate school was there. So, and when there was a hospital there at the time, and so we treated, those that may have gotten injured from some of the physical activities. Of course, we treated the men as well as the dependents that were there that lived on base. And then from there, I spent 2 years there. Then I went to Yokosuka, Japan, which is a
that's
big
nice
naval,
of you.
big naval base. And at that time, they again had an older hospital, and we were a lot of times having difficulty getting equipment. Instead of having IV bags, we would have IV bottles. So it was a little bit antiquated, but we did great. And I worked med-surg both at Quantico and at Yokosuka, and a little stint in the intensive care unit in Yokosuka. So then from Yokosuka, I said I'd like to go to Portsmouth, Virginia. So
That seems to be a trend here.
yeah, so they sent me to Memphis, Tennessee, Millington. And that's where I did more med-surg, but I actually got into what my specialty was, which was psychiatric nursing. So that was 4 years.
You're going to evaluate
that
me?
I did that.
I can tell you, I'm nuts.
That I did that. And then, because I had behaved myself so well, or at least not gotten caught, they decided to send me back to get my Bachelor's of Science in nursing, because I only had a diploma in nursing, a 3-year education. So they sent me, they paid me. I spent a year in St. Louis getting my degree. And then it was, okay, where do you want to go? And I said, Portsmouth, Virginia.
I kind of thought that was coming up.
Well, guess what?
Did you get
They
there?
sent me to Portsmouth, Virginia,
All right.
because they needed a psychiatric nurse. Nobody wanted to do psychiatric nursing.
Nobody wanted to go.
So when I said I was
Yeah.
a psychiatric nurse, they're like, come on down. So I spent 18 months at the hospital. And then I was transferred over to what they call the Naval School of Health Sciences. It was a detachment there that trained the technicians, the hospital corpsmen, to be technicians. So I moved over there to be the psychiatric technician school head. And then from then I became the academic director of all the different schools. There was pharmacy tech school, X-ray, even the independent duty corps school
Wow,
was
you
there.
had quite a career there.
So, and then I guess again, I behaved myself. I did pretty well, and I didn't get caught. And they sent me for my master's degree in education at Old Dominion University in Norfolk. And then finally, my last duty station was Bethesda, again at the Naval School of Health Sciences.
How many years total were you now?
21.
21. Then where did you go after you got out?
I stayed in the Virginia Beach area. I actually went back to Old Dominion University as an instructor for a few years. And, Virginia Beach is definitely a Navy town, and so it was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
It was great just to be.
Fun town, too.
And it's a fun town, so
Yeah.
there you go. So
So Betsy, what fun place did you ever go to New Hampshire?
I didn't. Like I said, I'm from Pittsburgh. I joined the Navy to see the world, and they sent me to Philadelphia. So at least I saw the other side of the state. But I was there in the 80s when Philadelphia was really big. They won, I think it was football, baseball, and basketball, I think, wasn't it? They had the top teams there.
You're not going to hear anything out of me.
Okay,
We don't-
you're not
we
a
don't
Philly.
care about
Not that I'm a Philadelphia fan, but it was fun to be in the city when they were
Yeah,
champions. So I went there, and I was basically your hospital pharmacist. I made rounds with the doctors, worked with the nurses, took care of patients, dispensed medications, did the pharmacy and therapeutics committee, everything that a traditional pharmacist would do that works in a hospital. We also had an outpatient pharmacy, so just like you would see at Walmart or CVS, you dispense meds. So, as we call it, we counted by fives. They didn't have much automation then, so you got your little tablet out and you had a spatula, 5, 10, 15. Then from there, I went to Branch Clinic, Treasure Island, which is an island in San Francisco, California.
Oh, you finally got out of Philadelphia.
I finally got out of Philadelphia after about 2.5 years, and I was what I call the corner druggist there. I was outpatient. It was 2 pharmacy technicians and me, and that was great duty. Loved San Francisco. From there, I went to the Naval Hospital, Pensacola, Florida, which was somewhat of a culture shock, from a cosmopolitan city to kind of a sleepy little beach town. But I enjoyed it. It did take me a little while to get used to the quiet and the slowness of it. But I was the assistant head of the pharmacy there and worked traditional pharmacy jobs that you would see in any hospital or retail area. Because in the Navy, usually it's now not so much in all the services. It usually is one big room, and in this area is the inpatient, and that area is the outpatient. So you can use your resources more efficiently when one's busier than the other. And then from there, I went to the Naval School of Health Sciences, and that's where I met Sue. I was in charge of the pharmacy technician
you guys
training
met
program.
in the service?
Yes, we met in the
Oh, wow.
service. So my first 10 years were traditional pharmacy. Then I did education and training. So I did the pharmacy tech training, and I also was the academic director, trying to take on more leadership roles and fleet up, so to speak, in rank. From there, I went over to the Naval Hospital in Portsmouth and worked in the pharmacy there. Again, traditional pharmacy roles, but I had more of a leadership role there, where we were trying to become more clinically focused or patient focused rather than product focused. The pharmacy used to, really be product focused. It's all about the medications and delivering the meds to the patients in a timely manner. We were trying to now kind of transfer a little bit to patient focus, where we wanted to get to know you a little bit more and make sure that was the right medication for you for the conditions that you presented. So I had to kind of do some little culture change, which was hard in the military. It took years and years. I started, and it kept going. It took probably 10 years for that to happen. But it's finally happening. And from there, then I went to, Arizona. I went to Air Force Country, Scottsdale, Arizona, because I was
Air
selected.
Force Country?
Yes. I remember going to Scott Air Force Base. It was like a half-hour drive, and when they saw my ID card, they said, "What's a Navy person doing? Do you realize there's no water here?" So they would
That's
get on
true,
my
yeah.
case. But I was lucky enough to be selected for duty under instruction, and I worked for a pharmacy benefit management company called PCS Health System, which has since been bought out. But I learned how the private sector was managing the pharmacy benefit, and my job was to take those tools of the trade and bring it back to the military. And at that time, that's when the military was starting to become more tri-service and managed care focused. So I went back to Norfolk and was in the Tri-County, the managed care office, and my region was Region 2, which is North Carolina and most of Virginia except for Northern Virginia. It's like a salesman. I had to go and try. The idea was to try to make it all three services have the same formulary, because the goal was, if I go to an Air Force base, I should be able to get the same medication filled that I get at the Navy base and the Army base. So we were working on a tri-service formulary where that could happen, because as a customer or a patient of the military, you don't want to have your script written, say at a naval hospital, but you live 15 minutes away, which is closer to the Army, and they don't carry the medication, and that was just not a good business model, so we were working to change that. And then from there, I was asked to go to the Bureau of Medicine and Surgery, which is the Navy Medicine headquarters, and I was the chief pharmacy officer for the United States Navy. So I worked for the Surgeon General. So after that, eject.
Time to retire.
After that, I retired. It was 26 years, and I was just ready for a change. But
So
how
what did
lucky
you
was
do when
I?
you retired? Did you go become a druggist or what did you do?
I didn't. I did more consulting work. My goal was actually to get out and work for Merck or Pfizer, which is a lot of my mentors did. But I decided just to take some time off, just relax, kind of travel a little bit. And I worked with some of the national pharmacy organizations and some of the Air Force and Army counterparts that I worked with in the service, my last, say, 5 years, on projects that were asked to be, studied. For example, we studied Army pharmacy, and I worked with the American Pharmacists Association to put on their Joint Forces seminars, which is an annual seminar in October. So I just did that. It was kind of a part-time. I liked having something with a beginning and an ending.
Yeah, well, that's life. Right?
Yeah, it's life. There you go.
So you guys met in the service. You kept in contact all those years?
Yes.
Or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did.
We actually kept in contact even after we both retired, and then here we are down here in the Villages.
Yeah, now how'd
Yeah.
you get down? What brought you down? How'd you get down here?
Really, it's through Sue's sister.
Yes.
This was nothing that was on my bucket list to come here. In fact, they had those commercials in Virginia, advertising the Villages, and they would sing the song.
Oh,
and,
we'd see that.
yeah, and it was just like,
Oh,
who would
yeah.
want to go to the Villages?
America's
And,
friendliest home.
Yeah, it was like, okay, sure.
Free golf the rest of your life. you know.
Exactly. And but both Sue and I traveled to Orlando to visit Sue's sister, and she was at a seminar. She's a speech pathologist, and she had the afternoon off, and she said, "Do you want to drive up to the Villages?"
We're like,
thought,
what?
No, what?
I don't think so.
But we thought, yeah, why don't we do that? And we came up here, and it exceeded our expectations. I think, it was beautiful, clean. It had everything. I know Sue was talking.
Yeah, I was always, and I was driving, to Lake Sumter Square, and I'm thinking, I love this, but I can't afford to love this. I can't live here. I can't live here. So we pull up into the square, had a nice parking space. I kind of looked around a little bit, and I said, I can't move here. There's no Starbucks. Then I looked up, then I looked over my shoulder and I went, oh man.
Oh, no.
There's
So-
a Starbucks.
There's
there's
a
a
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
My
So-
prayers have been answered.
So the more we learned about the, the villages and the lifestyle and everything that was available, it was like, hey, why not? Why
Well,
not?
listen, ladies, I'm glad you're happy, but I'm happy in a plantation down the road.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So there's a lot of great communities around, and tons of veterans, and
Yes,
this whole Central Florida area is special.
it is.
But okay, so now you both moved down here.
Mm-hmm.
Tri-County, that's what you're called,
That's it,
women
Tri-
veterans.
yep.
Yes.
I had done a show. I was talking to Sue before on the
Mm-hmm.
phone about 11 years ago, 12 years ago. I started out doing Lakefront TV
Mm-hmm.
in 2010, and it was 10 or 11, maybe 12 that there was Tri-County women. I don't think
Mm-hmm. It's the
there was.
same. It's
I
the
think there was
same.
only about 8 or 10 of them
That's
back
true.
then,
Yeah, yeah.
And Fran was one of them. I
Yep.
remember Fran,
Fran.
and I had 2 other ladies come on with me. There was 3 of them, and that was so long ago. Were you guys there when it all first started?
No, actually, it was started and founded in 1999 by Vivian Chasen, who was an Air Force veteran, who sadly passed away in September at the age of 90, but she left a lasting legacy.
I wonder if she was one of those.
She probably was. She was very active. She was president at maybe two intervals, but for a total of 9 years. So she was extremely active. And I think when we happened to notice a little article in the Daily Sun that said something about women veterans meeting, I think at Perkins or somewhere. And we thought, well, why don't we go and check this out? So this was January of 2016. So we went, and it was a blast. It was hooting and hollering and a lot of clapping and booing each other's services. You know how we do all the time.
Yeah. Same thing in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that was then, and then in 2017, when our president had to step down for medical reasons, I got elected president by default. Nobody else really wanted to take it, so
I know how that
I
worked.
said, "It's okay."
I they wanted, when I was with the AMVETS, I still am with the AMVETS, but they needed a second vice, and they said, you and this guy are going to run. I said, oh, okay. So I figured, well, I didn't really want the job,
Yeah.
but the guy got 2 votes. And I got all the other votes.
Oh,
no.
The one vote he got was mine. He must have voted
Under
for himself.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But so tell me more about how many members you have. I'll ask you how many members you have, and then I'll ask you what do you guys do.
There you go.
Okay.
She can
Okay.
answer. We currently have, drum roll, 250 members.
Wow, that's
We
good.
have an average of 60 women that come to our luncheons. Again, we're still meeting on the third Monday of every month. We meet at Palmer Legends Country Club. We have a lot of energy in our group. I'll let Betsy tell you about some of the things we've been doing, but we're just a very fun, loving. We love to laugh and just celebrate our service and swap our own sea stories or air stories or whatever you want to call them.
Now you say Tri-County. You're not all just villagers, right?
No.
You can-
We've got people who live in everywhere, Leesburg, Stonecrest, even Mount Dora. So it's Lake Sumter and Marion.
Hence Tri-County.
Yes, hence Tri-County.
Okay, Betsy,
Yes.
tell us what your organization does
Well,
or has done.
Well, we started off pretty much as a social organization. When Sue took over and we started to get more energy, the girls wanted to become more philanthropic. And so we've been out in the community working with some of the other veteran groups like Honor Flight, Villagers for Veterans, Shoebox. I mean, you'll see a number of women that are participants
You
in
ever heard of
there.
a place called Project SOS?
Yes, and I was
Project
gonna mention
SOS.
that.
That's good.
And
That's
actually,
That's my good buddy.
Yeah,
our good buddy too. Trust
recently
me.
our 2 biggest focus is Project SOS and Honor Flight. And we have raised money to have an all-women veteran honor flight, which will take place May 31st, June 1st of 2022.
I just wanted to break in. The way that came about was they have at the time they had 4 honor flights a year that they could have 40 veterans go. So a speaker from the Honor Flight Speakers Bureau came over to talk to us and encouraged us to put in our applications and to put in the comment section, all women veterans honor flight. So we did do that. And enough of us did it that it caught the attention of the management team at Honor Flight. So they wanted to meet with us to explain to us, why they could not use one of their regular flights as an all-woman veteran honor flight, because a lot of these people have been waiting 3 to 5 years. And if we bump them down the list, is that fair? No. But they graciously offered to add on a flight if we could do 2 things. 1, raise $50,000 to accommodate 40 veterans, and 2, you'd get enough women veterans to sign up. So within 6 weeks, we had 98 women veterans on the list. So obviously, needed a bigger plane, and a charter plane, and a bigger budget.
And more budget, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when we partnered with, we're not a 501c3 yet. We partnered with Villagers for Veterans to serve as our fiscal agent and to help us raise those funds. You want to take it from here?
Yeah, and they were awesome. I don't know if you know Marie Bogdanoff, but she's
been
a master
here.
at
She's been here. In
fundraising.
fact,
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we did a fundraiser here. But she doesn't know how much money we raised.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret.
Because you see the Eagles, if you're a charity, we're going to present a check to Ike. You ladies know
Yes.
Ike. Well, Ike is not a charity. He does it. He has a GoFundMe page. What he does, but Maria and what she's doing with the veterans housing for women veterans, she is an approved to charity. And the Eagles, if we raise money for an approved to charity, we send that money to the Grand Airy, who may match it.
Oh, great.
And that's what we're
That's great.
waiting on to see when it comes back. And I
that'd
can't
be
tell you
great.
how much money, but I can tell you I'm very proud of my Eagles.
Okay, you
My
should be
Eagles
proud.
area here.
Yes.
But yeah, we know Maria very
Yeah,
well.
and we were actively involved with the Villagers for Veterans as well, so
As
it was
board
just
members.
a perfect fit. And she was gracious to say, you know what, yes, I will share some of my expertise. You will staff my events, and I will let you use my 501c3 when you go out and solicit sponsors and whatever, so that it's a win-win. The sponsors will donate, they will get a tax write-off. And so between sponsors and individual donations, and then staffing all those events, we were able to raise $100,000. And so that check was presented to Honor Flight, November or December last year?
Yes, October, I think.
Yeah. And then we decided, that's when we decided, okay, we had enough money to charter the flight and then maybe to stay overnight. So then it became overnight. You know how the women are. Then and then we had something else we
I married
wanted,
one.
and then something else. Now it's up to $130,000, and I'm proud to say that we have the Tri-County Women Vets since since Villagers for Veterans and our partnership ended in September. We've done our own fundraising. So our bank account has the money needed to pay whatever the deficit is in the budget for Honor Flight, and that should be known in December.
Yeah, I saw a lot of you ladies. I was down. We here at the Eagles have also been very supportive of the women's.
Oh, thank
like
you.
I said,
Yeah.
the women's veterans housing, Ashley's house.
Ashley's house.
Ashley's house. And I went down to Brownwood and I saw some of you ladies down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Brownwood, they had a fundraiser down there, and you ladies came out with the honor guard and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I gave one or two of your members my card.
Oh, okay.
Give me a
Well,
call.
now that we've met you,
That's-
who
yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Who
Speaking
knows
of-
where this relationship's going?
Speaking of our color guard, that was another initiative that we took on. So we have a all-women veteran honor guard, or color guard, I should say, that is commanded by Peggy Campbell, who also happens to be the commander of the Veterans Memorial Park Honor Guard now. So the women are
okay.
taking over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah.
We
Was,
do, we do a lot of things too. It, you know, patriotic things that we can do. We always go to the different ceremonies. You'll see all our little white shirts at the ceremonies. We have speakers from our group speak periodically there. We have a lot of the women that are involved in the honor guard itself. One's a drummer. The gal who sings the national anthem pretty regularly is one of us. She's a Marine Corps veteran. So, and then there's actually 3 women veterans who serve on the board of directors for the Veterans Memorial Park.
And Sue is one of them.
Yeah, I'm one of
And one of the things we just did is we put the flags up at Fire Station 44 for 9/11.
3,000.
3,000 flags. We worked with the Veterans Memorial Park on that.
Yeah, I was
And
there a
we've-
few years
yeah.
ago for that when Chaplain Cato.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, he
He was
was
there
there
too.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy,
He-
isn't he?
Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a little story about
Okay.
Gary Cato.
Okay, let's put this on tape, right?
Yeah, you can put it on tape. My mother was living with us, and she was in a wheelchair. And when she passed, there was an article this big, that big, in the newspaper looking for wheelchairs.
Oh, yeah.
So I went down and I said, I met Gary. I said, "What do you do with the chairs? We're sending them overseas. Our rangers are giving them out to the what they call the crawling ones, the kids that were wounded in Afghanistan." I says, "Here, you can have that chair." I says, "By the way, I'm on Lakefront TV. I do a show called Salute. Why don't you come on?" So he came on and we talked, and within 2 weeks he had 225 chairs.
Yikes.
After that, I introduced him to a dear friend of mine, Pastor Chris Ward, who was the man in the forest. And Pastor Chris and Chaplain Cato hit it off, and they have done amazing
Yeah.
work. You know, unfortunately, Pastor Chris, died a few years ago, but Gary's picked up the pace, and he's got great people doing a lot of great things down there. And
Yes.
I told you what he called me, remember? I'm not going to mention it here,
Okay.
but it had to do, but something about a pain in a certain
Yeah,
body.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Yeah, so anyway, Gary is a dear friend of mine. In fact, he helps sponsor some of our shows.
That's
Okay.
great.
You know, we try to encourage people to donate to Project SOS, and I know what he's done over all the years, and you got a good fit right there.
Yeah, we
Once you
actually.
get your 501c, you're going to take off.
Yeah.
We actually volunteered and helped with the Christmas party, not Christmas, Easter.
Yeah, Easter.
Easter party that he had for the children of the veterans in the forest. And it was a blast. And now we are looking toward this year's Christmas party and volunteering in any way, shape, or form we can. To,
You have to go on my YouTube channel. You ladies have not
Okay.
been on my YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Because you would see the one that my partner Sue and I did at the church for Christmas about 2 years ago.
Oh,
I
you know
guess.
what? We did see that. We weren't
We
able to
did.
make that one, but that's what encouraged us to participate in the Easter one, because a lot of our good
And
friends
he's
are
been-
actively participating too.
He's been here talking about
Okay.
9/11. I've been with him
Yeah.
for a couple of places. And matter of fact, this past 9/11, with the COVID thing and everything going on, and he was a little reluctant to go to the warehouse up here in Leesburg and speak. So I spoke on his behalf,
Oh, okay.
which is
Yeah.
I'm not a Gary Cato.
yeah.
But, yeah. So
Yeah, we're also going to, I don't know if we're talking too much, partner
No,
with,
no,
we're also
you're not.
going to partner with him this Christmas, other than going to the Christmas party.
Yeah.
But there, he's getting, I think, what he calls family sheets. Last I saw him the other day, and he said he had 100. It's when a family will sign up, sign on the sheet who they are and who their kids are and what they might want for Christmas.
Wish
And
list.
wish list, yeah. And so the women vets, he's gonna give us, I don't know how many, and then we're gonna pass them out at our next meeting and bring that joy to
Yeah.
Christmas to the
he
kids in
he
the forest.
He
So
is something else. He's
we're
a
excited
superman.
about that. Yeah.
Also an Air Force veteran. I just,
Yeah, we
know
we
that,
don't
but we
pay
don't-
attention
yeah.
to that.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap this up. I think we've been about a half an hour here now, right? So,
Oh, time
unless you
flies.
ladies have something else you want to talk about, or a special event, or you know what we need to know? If there's women veterans out there that want to be part of this, a phone number, a web page, you know, whatever.
Okay, our website, which we just activated, is tri-countywomenveterans.org. So there's a nice film on that too, that highlights or spotlights is the word.
Yes.
Spotlights several of our women veterans and what they did during, when they
Their
were serving.
time in
Yeah,
service,
some
yeah.
very interesting stories.
Oh, great.
Or they can, go to the website.
Now, let me ask you, is there
Facebook,
like a dues?
No
No
dues,
Okay,
no dues.
so, all
I
right.
do want to, can I bring up just one more thing you made me think of, videographer? During COVID, one of the things we did, and one of the goals we have is to increase visibility and step out of the shadows, because we asked people, when you think of a veteran, do you picture a woman? And that was pretty much the theme of the video. And so I wrote the video, and then a videographer by the name of Michael Bogdanoff, i.e.
Yes,
Marie's son.
Yeah,
He took it and put it to life, and I'm happy to leave that with you if you want to take a peek at that at your
Sure.
convenience.
Can we use it? Can we use it?
Yes, yeah.
Can we use it, or do we have to ask Michael? 'Cause
Well-
Michael, yeah, I'll tell you, I know, actually, I know Marie very well, and I know Michael too, and his dad. But we had a show we did here with two World War II guys, and he did a documentary about, help me with the name here. Irvin Locker.
Yeah,
Yes.
Irving.
Irvin Locker. So we had Irvin here, and I had another friend, Wally Lambert, here, and they both were in on D-Day.
Yes.
And it's a great story. And then I asked Michael, he was here also, about his biography he did on Irvin. And it is on Central Florida Salute YouTube.
It is,
and
yeah.
you ladies have to get up to speed on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This will
Well,
be
here
out
we
there
are. This
too.
is our first step. Well, I wrote it, I casted it, and I paid for it. So I'd say that's my video.
It certainly is. Isn't it?
Yeah. And yes, you have permission.
How long
to-
is the video?
It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just enough.
It goes through a little history, and, you know, you
I
meet
think
the
that'd
women.
be a good fit for this show.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be an honor and privilege, and I'm sure Michael would be honored as well.
It was the most amazing experience of my life, being able to serve our country. Just the honor of everything.
After 21 years of being in the Army, I retired as a Sergeant First Class. From my experience, the Army was very supportive of me and ended up staying for another 12, 13 years.
Probably the 10-year mark dawned on me that the Navy was my life.
How many women have been fortunate enough to say, I served my country?
When you think of a veteran, do you picture a woman? Did you know that women have served in many roles in the United States military for centuries? Women in the American Revolution often followed their husbands into the Continental Army, taking on roles such as washing, cooking, and mending clothes. But it was not unusual for them to pick up their wounded husband's weapon and join the fight. The Civil War shows images of women that center on self-sacrificing nurses, romantic spies, or brave ladies maintaining the home front in the absence of their men. Both the Confederate and Union armies forbade the enlistment of women, so women soldiers assumed masculine names and disguised themselves as men. World War I brought in new roles for women. Women played vital roles, not just in the war, but also in the country's economy. They did manual labor, worked on farms, in factories, served in local governments, and provided stateside military services from transportation to aid. For the first time, women were allowed to join the military. Some worked on the home front while others traveled to Europe, and still others traveled to overseas units to assist soldiers. World War II women filled jobs previously held by men, working in industries that were building supplies necessary for the war effort.
It was in World War II when the women's service branches were established. First came the Army WACs, followed by the Navy Waves, the Air Force WASPs, and the Coast Guard spars. They took office and clerical jobs in the armed forces in order to free men to fight. They were nurses and truck drivers, mechanics and radio operators. Some flew military aircraft across the country, or they test flew newly repaired planes, and even trained anti-aircraft artillery gunners by acting as flying targets. At the end of the war, women made up over 2% of the armed services. When you fast forward 28 years to 1976, women were admitted to all the service academies and were integrated into the military. Their separate branch was no longer necessary. In 1993, women would serve on combat ships and fly as fighter pilots. Today, women are eligible to compete for assignment in all military occupational specialties and positions and comprise nearly 11% of the total veteran population.
So, why is it that every day women veterans go overlooked and often less recognized, less valued than their male counterparts? Why is it that some people don't see us as veterans because we do not wear the ball cap or the t-shirt? Could it be lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, or just a culture lag?
The Tri-County Women Veterans Association, a group of over 200 women in Central Florida in the counties of Sumter, Lake, and Marion, want to increase the awareness and start the dialogue and open eyes to the myriad levels of expertise women veterans possess.
In 1977, I was very lucky to be assigned out of officer candidate school to a ship, and I served with another woman officer and 10 enlisted women aboard the Coast Guard cutter Gallatin. It's important to understand how women have contributed to the Coast Guard in terms of law enforcement, search and rescue.
I served in the United States Air Force as a non-commissioned officer sergeant. And I was the only female that's ever been in the military in my family, so it was quite an honor. I did computer operations attached to intel units. I think, though, the best part of my career in the Air Force was winning the John Levittow Award for leadership.
I did start out as a personnel specialist for a couple of years, and from then I went to recruiting school in Indiana, where I graduated, of course, and became an Army recruiter. I spent 12 years recruiting nurses and high school students. Most of the time in recruiting, you only spend 2 to 3 years at one station.
When I joined in 1971, women could not be pregnant and be in the Navy. You were discharged. In the military, it was very rare to have a senior enlisted female or officer. As a company commander, you had 80 women that you taught how to walk, how to talk, how to salute, how to dress. And 8 weeks later, they went out into the fleet. So by 75, 76, you had more women joining the military, all the branches, and making it a career.
When I was in the Army, my husband was also on active duty, and we had 3 children. It was very challenging in managing the family matters. I worked in a logistics operations office, and I became a planning officer. We did contingency planning for the return of forces to Europe during the Cold War for redeploying large numbers of military back to Europe should there ever be a World War III.
I'm Susan Ongst. I served in the United States Air Force as a communications electronics officer. I worked in COM, which is basically connecting people and equipment, and like radios, telephones, radar, satellites. I got into the combat comm arena because you not only had to be smart, but you had to be strong and combat ready.
Nothing that I did was a normal path for a woman officer or even a woman enlisted. The first job I had pretty much I was in charge of the admin department at a data processing center in Pearl Harbor. I stayed 3 years on my first ship, which is the USS Puget Sound. It was a destroyer tender, so we did repair jobs all around the Med. Learned a lot from the chief, who was my leading chief. Basically, he said, if you stay down here and you'll learn what the guys are learning, but more importantly, you'll learn the leadership, because if you can lead in deck, you can lead anywhere.
I wish I had stayed in. I wish I'd retired in the Air Force.
When I moved here to Florida and I found out about the Tri-County Women Veterans, I was kind of excited to get back into, that part of me that I'm really proud of.
The unsung heroes of this whole odyssey that's been my career, of the women that went before me, the women that fought in the trenches of the Pentagon and helped write language that opened the gate and capability that women brought not only to the surface Navy, but to aviation and finally to the submarine community.
If you see a woman vet, just make sure you say thank you. And most of the time we have something on to prove, a shirt, a hat.
I wear a lot of baseball caps, and all my favorites have to have U.S. Air Force on them, of course. So I go out in public, and the first, right away, someone walks up to me and they say, "Where did your husband serve?" Okay.
People just have the vision of men being veterans, not women. And there are a lot of us here.
It's important to recognize all veterans and to understand that women play a major role in defending our country, our allies, the sacrifices.
So to the women veterans out there, I commend you, I thank you, I salute you for all that you have done and sacrificed for your country. Stand tall and proud and share your stories, for you have earned the right to be called a veteran.
So, when you think of a veteran, picture a woman too. I am a veteran.
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 I want to thank you for your service. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
So you're going to look right at that camera
Right
right
at that
there.
camera.
Are you ready?
Ready.
To all our veterans out there, our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.